go to Control Panel in the Synology Control Center and open up our shared folder, and then go to Users and Groups. So I've created some non-admin accounts, and these are the ones that are for my family. One account per user and child as I see fit. Then I created a group, and in the group it's basically called Family, Parents and Kids. So everyone of the family will go there. And if I look at the details, the members of that group are the non-admin accounts. The permissions of that group are set specifically for the shared family folder. I will show you that later. And all the others are default, so nothing special there. Great, so if we now have the users and the groups set up. We just need to move across to the folders themselves. So I have created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 folders. These are shares, sorry, not folders. And inside these shared folders, we'll have subfolders, specifically on whatever that folder is supposed to hold. So I'm going to go through the shared folder side of things first. It's very simple. If I edit, let's say this one here, I specifically, because it's admin related, I want to hide it from the network places, so the others of the family don't see this one. This is a specific folder for me, and also hide the subfolders and the files from people that do not have permissions to view that, which I will, as the administrator, have control over. Once again, I do not encourage encryption. I've enabled this little checkbox, which is good for all of your folders and your shares that you create. Permissions wise, basically only the admin account has got access to this one, and I don't touch any of the others down there. Wonderful. Once you've created your shares, and these are something that you would need to do specifically. This is my requirements. I would have an admin folder. Maybe this is a good time to flip across to the file station themselves. So in the admin folder, for example, I have license keys folders, network configurations, any receipts and warranties. I want to keep that here. In the backups, for example, I have 3 kinds of devices. I have PCs on my network, I have mobile phones, and I do have laptops. I want to make backups of those devices and put them here. Nothing to do with the data. This is kind of a technical backup of this system, of the laptop, in case it goes down, in case I want to move things, in case of some kind of issues. I also have CCTV surveillance cameras around my property, and I want to keep them here. Maybe that's for another video. Cloud backups. This is maybe something that's very interesting for you. I think you may have a Microsoft 365 account, a OneDrive, in other words. You may have Google Drive, and of course you could have Dropbox. We have all 3, depending on the family member, and I want to make a copy of that onto my NAS. So I understand that there's cloud backup solutions that have their own redundancies and their own ways of doing things. I do not want to affect either the end user, so my child or my wife who's using, let's say, OneDrive. They should use it as usual on their computer, the way they use it every day. What I want to do is I want to use this Synology device to also connect, without them knowing, to their account, and then copy all of that data and make a backup so I have it here. In case something happens to the Microsoft service or the Google service or the Dropbox service, I then have a copy of that stuff over here. I will require their login credentials, so it's not a sneaky way or a hacker way of doing it. I do require their credentials. If you do not know them, you will need to contact your other half or of course your child, and they would need to provide you those credentials if you do not know them already, and use them to do this cloud backup storage. Next, we have media. So this is specifically for my YouTubes and other people in the family that have YouTubes. Inside these folders, for example, the raw footage folder, you may have yourself, maybe your wife has got a YouTube channel, or your child one has got a YouTube channel, 2, 3, whatever. You could put them in here and have them available either to them, depending on the permissions that you provide on the folder, or you can manage it yourself completely, up to you. This is the shared family thing. So for example, this is where they would put their photos from their phones, anything that they want to share and make available to the family as a whole. This is the shared family folder, and specifically there's some movies or music or photos, and maybe a TV series, and then videos that they want to share with everybody. I've got a movie collection that I would like to share with the family, so I would put everything in the movies folder, and then they will be able to access them from wherever they are or whatever device they're using. And finally, if you're a little bit more technical like myself and you have a virtual machine running on the NAS, this folder is required so that you can have the image of that virtual machine pointing to the NAS, or the image is being used by the virtual machine, and everything is housed on the NAS device, the virtual machine itself in the M.2 drives, and that when it boots up and needs to read something, that's going to be in here in the VM images folder. Right, that is my folder setup, and let's move across to the recycle bin side of things. So everything that you do over here is great to have, but if you delete it, if somebody in the family deletes it, you will need to have some kind of recycle bin created. So there's different areas. I think it's under File Services, no. Task Scheduler. Inside here, I have created this task. It basically didn't exist. You would need to click on Create. It's going to be a scheduled task, and then there it is, a recycle bin. I'm not going to recreate it, but I'm just going to edit this one to show you what I've done. I gave it a name. I called it empty bin. The schedule I did not touch. I'm very happy with this to run every single day. But what I did do is I used my previous settings as we discussed before, and I changed the number of days to retain deleted files. I am happy with 60 days, so that's 2 months. I think there is enough space on my NAS device with the amount of disks that I have, the space that I have, to retain any kind of deleted files for 2 months. Thereafter, they will disappear. They are gone. So if somebody accidentally deletes something and wants it back, they have 2 months to open the recycle bin and retrieve that. That's fine. If you can change this to 1 year, but then do remember that at some point, maybe there are some very big files, especially if you're running, if you have raw footage from your YouTube channel or other videos, and those files will stay there for a whole year, whereas they would not necessarily need to be there because they were deleted, and you may run out of space. So you need to find that balance for your use case. There's a notification section right here, and the only thing that I think is necessary is an email notification. If the NAS device hits some kind of problem or is running out of space or something like that, you would want to be notified. You're probably not going to go into this interface every single day. So it's good to have a notification warning sent to you on at least the email, your email. So I have checked this little box. It automatically understood what my Synology account is because I'm logged into this, and I've set it, I left the default of warning. You can change this from to critical. All is maybe everything, information, everything is maybe too many emails if you're already struggling with your emails. So warning is a good balance between the info that you don't need and the critical that you must have. It will include critical, so it's from warning and critical. Right, let's move over to how do I connect to my share. So I've created, or you've created a folder and you now want to connect to it. It's very simple. You would need to just click on your / the name of your device, which is family NAS, hit enter. And then at this point, you will have your shared family stuff. Now, what I have done to test this before the video was it prompted me to log in. And this is where you would need your login information that you've set up originally over here. So I've logged in with my no admin account and the password for that one there, because your Windows Explorer, so the computer that you're using, does not have that information. You have to tell it that information. So you log in with that information and you will have access to whatever you are allowed to have access to. So in this case, I only have access to the shared family stuff. If I logged in with my admin account, I would have access to the other folders that I showed you earlier. But this is fine. And inside here, if I open it, I will see all those folders that I told you about. So that's really great. So to get access and to see how to connect to your shared folders, you will click on File Services, and under the SMB, which we enabled earlier, scroll down and you will see for a Windows computer, you would need to type /family-NAS. This is not case sensitive. And if you're having a Mac, you would need to use your SMB connection in this format. Once you do that, you will get access directly to the folders that you are allowed to access. Okay, finally, let's move across to something called Package Center. Now, Package Center, I'm not going to go through everything here because there are a lot of packages that Synology provides together with other companies like Google, I see McAfee, there's a lot of other companies out there, but Defender's there. But there are some nice applications which I recommend that you do install. But I want you to do your research before installing them. Don't just install all of them because some of them are quite technical, but also it's good to know what it does and how you're going to use it in your family NAS so that you get the benefit from that. But here are 6 packages. The last one is an advanced package that I think you should investigate and research. The first one, we're going to call it Snapshot. Let me just put, there we go, Snapshot Replication. This is a great little application for any kind of, it's kind of like a backup, but it works exactly like snapshots on Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive, where you can go back in time and look at versions of certain documents or files. So this is what Snapshot Replication does. Great little tool to have. The next one would be the Synology Drive Server. So Synology Drive Server, oh no, I don't want to do that. Okay, this is the one. Synology Drive, so the previous one was a beta version. Synology Drive server is allowing you to have the Synology NAS drive, all those shares that you created, available on your Windows or MacBook. But this one is maybe a nice to have. I don't know if you really need it in your use case. If you do want to have access to the folders in a different app, so not Windows Explorer or your MacBook Finder, but in a different app, Synology Drive is what would be installed on your family's systems, and then they can access the Synology system that way. Right, another one would be Synology Photos, and this is a nice one that I will use for sure, because Synology Photos allows anything to be backed up from the devices. So I will give a little bit of knowledge transfer to my kids, teach them a little bit, and the wife, how to use Synology Photos on their mobile devices so that they can move or copy, let's say, whatever they want from their Photos app, whatever they're using, so that it is existing in Synology Photos, which therefore exists on your NAS. So it's the backup of the photos that they need. You need to explain to them that if your photo does not exist in Synology Photos, it's not backed up, and therefore they may lose it if their phone is stolen or something bad happens, they drop it or it just dies. So this is a great one to have. If I'm not mistaken, it does do videos as well, but I will need to research that one a little bit more. Right, the next one we have is Hyper Backup. Now, Hyper Backup, this one over here, is a backup for your NAS. So basically, anything that your NAS has, you want to back it up somewhere else, this is the one that you need. You can have multiple destinations, you can have multiple backup versions, anything that's required to back up the NAS and the data on it is good to have. Now, this may not be something you need right away, but it can come in useful in the future. A little bit more technical now. So if you're running virtual machines, the virtual machine manager is a must-have. This little tool will allow for all your management of all your virtual machines, your VMs on the Synology NAS, and I've heard great things about it from the experts out there. I haven't tried it myself, obviously, but this is definitely something that I will install. And then some point in the future, if you do want to investigate containers, so these are things like Docker containers and other kind of containers. It's supposedly hugely popular built-in image repository for Docker Hub. So this is something that you will need if you're running Docker workflows. This is again a hugely popular app in the Synology world, but it's definitely for those more advanced tinkerers out there. So this is definitely an app that I would recommend you install for sure. I hope you found that part helpful. So now let's talk a little about expansion options and some other stuff. From the beginning, I spoke of a NAS as an investment, and I honestly think it is a long-term investment for you and all your devices. Your NAS device is not a dead end. Yes, it just costs a lot of money, but if you do a little research and buy a device that has expansion capability, then you are planning for at least 7 years of data security. By that time, this tech will have expanded and your current device will probably need to be refreshed anyhow. Expansion disk bays exist, and they usually plug and play, so have a look around and plan for the next few years. Now, as this investment will hold your precious data that nothing can replace, I cannot emphasize enough that you will need to buy and connect it to a UPS. Losing your NAS or data to a power fluctuation or a lightning strike is not a nice feeling at all. Once this video is complete, I will shut down my NAS and move it to my secure protected data room, which has a business-grade UPS that I trust and maintain. If you do not have a UPS, please look into one so that you can have peace of mind whatever the weather. What other options do you have? Well, I spoke about the network cards earlier. So yes, you can upgrade your network switches to accommodate better redundancy and bridging for link aggregation. You can also buy a NAS that support the much faster 10 gigabit connections, and of course a switch that supports these as well. Synology and other manufacturers sell NAS products that have 10 gigabit connections. That means a huge bump in transferring large files. For example, the video creator Jordan D gave the example of copying a 500 gig video project over wireless from her Mac Mini to her NAS, and she mentioned that originally it would take 3 days, whereas over her new 10 gigabit connection, it takes about 12 minutes. Notifications. If you want more than an email alert, enable the push service in the control panel. This way you can link the Synology mobile app to also receive the messages. Data scrubbing schedule. Do not set this to happen very often as it stresses your disks. Even though NAS disks can be powered on all day, every day, if there is something we can do to alleviate stresses on the mechanical parts, I think it's a good idea to do. For me, I earlier set the data scrubbing to quarterly, and I recommend this for you as well. Smart tests. DSM does a very good job at detecting bad disks and notifying you, but this is a new device with new disks. I would recommend to start an extended test per disk to verify your new disks are operating well. If a disk is faulty, it's the test that will inform you. You can run the extended test on all disks at the same time, but just like the optimization and data scrubbing, there will be a performance hit on the NAS, so expect it to be slow until the process finishes for all disks, about 10 hours per disk. Finally, here is a comforting thought. Typically, if a disk does not go bad in the first month of it being used, it will last years. So, good luck with your disks. Backup. Even with all the redundancies that a NAS device has, it is always a good idea to have a backup of your data on some other device or system. Maybe another old disk that you have lying around, or an online service if you can afford it. Oh, and don't forget to also back up the VMs that you have on the NAS. And that's it. Remember that for 90% of home users, a NAS like DS925 Plus is everything you will need from a home server. Unless you're a developer or hardcore tinkerer, you'll be spending less time fixing and more time using the device. I'm George, and if you're new to this stuff, you're in the right place. If this helped, hit that like button, subscribe for more beginner-friendly breakdowns, and leave a comment with something you're new to. Maybe I'll cover it next. Thank you for watching. Until the next time.